Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Happy Sunday, October 26, 2025. I hope everyone is doing well. I just made my pendulum predictions video for the week. It'll be released on Wednesday. For cards today, I'm going to be using the Jack-o'-lantern tarot, and for clarifiers, the Black Cat tarot. And for the 3-card pull, the Halloween Oracle. If you haven't already and you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, check out membership. Members, this Halloween, 9 p.m., I am going to be channeling Bridget Bishop, lighting her candle. She is the first woman that was accused of witchcraft. She has an amazing story. I am here in Salem, Mass. Got my Hocus Pocus shirt on. And she was spicy. She wore red dresses. She ran a tavern. She was a landowner by herself. She had a few prior husbands, had an amazing apple orchard. And so I'm going to be channeling her. And we're also going to be doing a money ritual. I have this filthy heavy cauldron made here in Salem by Salem Witches to do a money ritual with my members on Halloween night. And for everyone on Halloween night, I will be going live. And for anyone who wants to purchase a reading, you will see in the community tab, I do have something up. And even if you want to purchase a full Celtic cross on Halloween from Salem, and oh my goodness, literally like the 3-eyed Atlas comet, not comet, is going by like the same time. So amazing. Plus, I have like all my little Halloween things here, right? Oh, and we will be lighting, for my Hocus Pocus fans, the Black Flame candle. Let me just grab my notes. Okay. And if you see me just looking at something, I have my iPad here. Hello, Becky, Nancy, Diana, Pama, Lightworker, Jenny, Kim, Dave, Noreen. Hello, hello. I know it's spooky season. It is. I am loving it. Okay. There we go. It got rid of my chat for a minute. Hello, Amethyst, Madhu. Oh, and don't forget, for my angel members, psychic development class this Tuesday. Every Tuesday night we do that. We will be taking off the first Tuesday in November because we do it 3 times a month. It's going to be the first Tuesday simply because my cat Maggie does have a doctor's appointment. And I know historically that means Mama has a night up afterwards. Hello, Janet, JM. Oh my goodness, look at all these numbers. Hello, everybody. Hello, Melinda. All right. So I wanted to talk about a remote viewing session that I did. So for those of you that don't know, I am a trained military remote viewer. And I do have that very firm belief that you cannot know your target of what you're remote viewing. The way military remote viewing works is that you are giving an encoded bunch of letters and numbers. You don't know what they mean. You just have to dive into that energy. I do have a class on that I teach. And so I have a friend that can do that. And I had her send me 5 different ones, not knowing exactly what was going to be what. Like she sent in a funny one. Like one was like McDonald's, like just to throw me so I didn't get too comfortable here. But I did want to look at the East Wing and what was going on because I knew that there was something more. 45 is not the dancer, right? So we know that it has nothing to do with a ballroom. And so what I got with the remote viewing was that this has everything to do with what's underground. Now, if you want to hear more about this, in membership, you can if you become a member, it's for all levels of membership. We do a deep dive into this, what it's really about. And the comparisons between him and a certain leader in 1936 Germany that did the same thing. If you're ever wondering what 45 is going to do, and no, I'm not confused, this is a current video. That is what I call him. And he does the same things. There is such synchronicity between what these two men have done. And once again, with that leader in Germany in 1936, it had nothing to do with a ballroom. It had to do with the bunkers underneath. So guess what came up with the remote viewing? With the East Wing, bunkers underneath. Now, there were already bunkers there, ones that you'd have to take an elevator down. I didn't know this until I looked it up. I didn't realize, like, during 9/11, that's where George W. went. So there were bunkers there. But then when we start to look at who the donors are, and I'm not going to say them, but these are all people okay? I was saying to members, you can't, like, there's no way we could cut out using all of these products. There's just no way. There was no way. And so they're all buying room in these bunkers. And these bunkers, don't think they're not going to be comfortable. I mean, we're talking comfortable bunkers. They are deep underground and they're going to be beautiful. And it is to sustain these families. And that is the higher purpose. Everything else is a distraction when it comes to it. Now, what was interesting is I just did a little comparison. Buckingham Palace's ballroom is 7,200 square feet. A football field is 57,600 square feet, and this one is going to be 90,000 square feet. So why does it need to be so big? It's not for dances. It has nothing to do with being a ballroom and functioning as a ballroom. It's what's underneath. And that is really what stood out to me. Looking at your comments. So, well, right. So he is having issues with walking. Okay, so I don't know how, as a collective, we have just decided to pretend that the right side of his face is not drooping. I mean, and I'm not judging him for that, but I do think we have the right to know the health of our president. I may share publicly the remote viewing at some point that I did on his health. If you want to know more, I did do it in membership earlier today. There's definitely more there than meets the eye. But like I always say, remember, we only see him when he's at his best. And because now we're starting to see such synchronicities with this previous leader from Germany, think about everything that he went through, how they pumped him up and, medically and whatnot. I think you know what I'm saying. I will be releasing later the remote viewing I did with Argentina. Once again, this has nothing to do with 45 being benevolent and philanthropic towards a South American country. There is a higher purpose. But once again, where did that leader in Germany, where did his cohorts, flee to when things went south? What country? It is amazing the synchronicities that are coming out. It is so weird. What do they think is going to happen if they need bunkers? Well, if they keep acting the way they do and people rise up and rebel, I mean, look at it, Pluto in Aquarius. What happened to the elite the last time Pluto was in Aquarius in the 1700s? People started losing their heads. The common man rose up. We became a country. France lost their monarchy. Haiti had a revolution. These people do not think for 1 second that the elite does not follow astrology, do not have the best astrologers, that they don't have tarot readers, psychics, remote viewers. They have all of it. They know what's coming, guys. And it's us standing up. It is us. giving it back to them, because we're only going to tolerate this for so long. We really are. And so they have this fear, and they should. They should. Here is my prediction. I'm going to pull some cards on this. Because I have so many new viewers, welcome. It's great to have you. You keep asking me about timing. When do I think he's going to leave? When? And I keep seeing like people saying things like, well, I don't care how or why, I just want him gone. Okay, well, first of all, if that's the case, you're missing out on the role he plays, the role you're playing, the role that our collective is playing. There is always a higher meaning and higher spiritual purpose behind everything. We do want to know the how, the why, because first of all, do you want this duplicated? Without understanding, this can happen again. We don't want that. We need to be looking deeper, more introspective and reflective when it comes to all of this. And so, and see, just reading some of the comments now. How much longer? How much longer? Yeah, okay. You guys drive me nuts sometimes. I say that with love. Say it with love. So if you remember, okay, I said this a while ago. Something clearly happens in October, and I said this probably back in like January, that clearly changes 45's fate with when he leaves. And I'm not really willing to commit to saying how he leaves, when he leaves. What I do think is probably going to happen, no matter what the truth is, they are going to say it's his health. Okay? I do believe they're going to say it's his health. That's the reason. Either way. But something happens in October, whether we know what that thing is or not, because you have to remember, once again, we only see him at his best. We don't really know. We don't know everything that's brewing behind the scenes. I do think for the Republicans, it was a huge mistake with stirring up everything with Jack Smith. That was a mistake for them. It's good for us, not so much for them. I do get a holiday feel, but it's not Thanksgiving or Christmas. And I just keep seeing, and yes, I get the irony of this, MLK Junior Day, January. I just keep seeing that, and the irony would make so much sense. That's if you wanted me to commit to a time, it'd be around that date. That is the time. So let's pull some cards on that timing. Let's see what happens. This is the Jack-o'-lantern tarot, because I know some of you are going to be asking. And make sure for you, those of you that are leaving comments, that you're leaving comments that are of the highest vibration. I do get rid of people that are of the lower vibration. So make sure that they are of love and light, and that you are not fear-mongering, because that is not what my channel is about. And that's not the point of me being here doing this. Okay. 10 of Pentacles. This is the card that we oftentimes get for, first of all, the Republican Party, but it's also a 10. And for the 4 suits, you don't get any higher than a 10. Something is going, something's leaving. It's the end of a cycle. Okay. So that makes sense to me. My second card is always my obstacle card, and the subsequent cards are the outcome cards. The Emperor. Okay, so we oftentimes get this for 45. Actually, we got this last week for 45. The obstacle is himself. He has not acted like the Emperor, who has built a good foundation for himself, who is stable and solid. It's not there. Okay. And so he's his own undoing. Outcome, 7 of Wands. And if you can see in this deck, he is like fleeing. He's running. He's looking behind himself in this one. It's a card of exiting, of going. It's a card of transition and change. 3 of Pentacles. interesting because in this deck, it's actually quite different. This is sometimes when we get this in regular tarot, I say it's like the wheeling and dealing. It's not in this deck. In this deck, it's like it's actually somebody trying to like tear down a man. Um, it's not that happy, wholesome card that we usually see with Three of Pentacles. Um, even though he will wheel and deal until the end. That is who he is. That is who he is, right? Temperance. And you know what? These are the cards that we got last week too. Balance does get restored. And, I know you guys, some of you are new, so you keep asking the same questions about, okay, then what happens next? Well, we're going to follow the natural progression of things, but some of you are also very confused about what happens if Vance goes, doesn't it go to that? No, please read. Succession is not what some of you are thinking in this situation. But yes, we will have Vance. Somebody asked me in membership, like, what do I think about 2026? And I said, well, I think we're going to see a lot of Vance. But we need to start with, first 45 goes. I do not see Vance staying for the rest of the term. I don't. I feel like a lot of balance and a lot of balance gets restored, a lot of harmony gets restored. Bottom of the deck, 8 of Cups. And this actually aligns perfectly with what I'm saying. A walking away and leaving. It's one of the few, there's only 3 cards where the character's back is turned and they're going. And so, yeah, I think sometime, the first month of the year, he's going. Things are going to play out the way that they do. It's time for change. We can't keep this up much longer. You think YouTube psychics no longer want subscribers to ask for a specific time? Well, here's the thing. When it comes to timing and anything psychic, it's tough. Timing is the hardest thing. This is when I say turn to astrology. And if you look at the astrology is pretty clear. I mean, he's kind of overstayed his welcome as it is. Like he's gone by so many exit points in general in his life. So I've never shied away. I've pretty much always given the same exit points for when he's going to not so much leave the planet, but leave office. I really haven't changed much from that. Brenda, you are right. Nothing is forever. He's going to go. He's not a well person. I agree. This won't last forever, but don't go like into those traps where everything, is a distraction, but you're not recognizing it as a distraction. Like I like the idea of calling the ballroom the Jeffrey E. Ballroom. Okay. It's a distraction. But yes, they do want those bunkers. They absolutely want those bunkers. What is that, Georgia? Why does allies to not feel afraid of going to jail? I don't think most of them will go to jail. I've talked about this so many times through the years. And these are my predictions that have always been correct. I know a lot of you guys want to hear the orange suits and the handcuffs. And for the most part, no, I don't see that. I don't think that's their role right now. I think some of them will face repercussions for sure. I was disappointed that George Santos got out. I haven't read on him forever, but now he's saying, and I think this is so ironic. So George Santos, got pardoned by 45. He's out, and he's saying he no longer feels safe in his neighborhood, and now he has to leave. Oh Lord. Yeah, Nancy, other readers that give death dates, first of all, you can't. You just can't. That is one thing you cannot predict, because if you look in someone's soul contract, whether you work with the Akashic Records or you're an astrologer and you can see all their exit points, you have all these exit points. I'll give you the perfect example. Like my brother that passed in March. I had been doing his astrology quite a bit, and he did pass on the eclipse, but his final exit point isn't for like 30 more years. So if he had actually gotten medical intervention in time, he was battling a respiratory infection. He really should have gone to the ER. I wish he had. things would have changed. But your soul is always given that choice. Listen to people that have had near-death experiences. So often they get over there and they are either given a choice or they're told, you know what, you got to go back. You're not done with your work. So, yeah, I do not ever see 45 in jail, ever. That is not his karma. Do I see him possibly sprinting to Argentina? There's a whole purpose to Argentina. I'm going to do a separate video of that one. I'm just going to pull a few cards. Let me use the Black Cat Tarot. What else do we need to know right now? When it comes to American politics, what is it that we need to know? Oh, jumping. Okay. Knight of Pentacles. I like that. I will take that. Because with Knight of Pentacles, that makes me feel like things are going to stabilize. Right now, we're in the thick of it, so everything feels unstable, topsy-turvy. We're not liking what we're seeing. We're uncomfortable. It's upsetting. People don't know what's going to happen next. Please don't feed into that. That's what they want. Do you remember what I said last week? This administration is doing some of those things exactly as that guy in Germany did, where you control people's food supply, you control their health care, you make them vulnerable, you make them weak. You can, please try not to fall into these traps as much as possible. And if you're in a situation where you can help. Okay. Obstacle. Oh my word. I am not making this up, people. Can you see this? This is the Emperor card. Two different decks. Both times, the obstacle is the Emperor. 45 is his own undoing. But you know what? He's not going to undo this country. We are strong. We've got this. We've been through this dog and pony show with him before. We've got this. Let him undo himself. We can sit back and watch. 10 of Wands. So just like with the other deck, another 10, that was 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, something coming to an end. But I also think that this is a reflection of us feeling sort of burdened, feeling oppressed, because so many people, are directly experiencing that right now. And so try to keep your vibration higher than what's happening. And the way you do that is by not overindulging in everything that he's doing, the media cycle that, spins every few minutes. Try to stay centered. And when you wake up in the morning, ask the universe, how may I serve? And then be of service to others, right? Because we can all help, no matter what you are, who you are. If you're disabled, if you don't have money, you can always lend an ear, be kind to someone, lend a smile, that sort of thing. 7 of Wands. These are the same cards that we got with the other deck. And if you look with this one, it's one central character and everybody is pointing at her, right? Wow. So this is actually, I didn't necessarily set the intention of looking at 45 specifically, just what do we need to know about American politics right now? This is 45. His time is coming to leave the political stage. 2 of Swords. Yeah, he's throwing darts with his eyes, blindfolded, just hoping something sticks, right? I don't know if he always has a greater plan. Sometimes he does, like with the Ballroom, he certainly does. But is that really him, or is that more the people that's behind Project 2025? Okay, think about that for a minute. Bottom of the deck, the Chariot, I love it. She's on her motorcycle. She is going forward. Yeah, we are going to go forward. We're going to progress. We're going to be okay. We're not going to be stuck in the muck and mire of this forever. There is forward movement. We need to just keep our chins up. We've got this. Looking at your comments. Yeah, so Dina, the No Kings protests, I read that there was over 7 million people that showed up for those. And I say live your life that millions upon millions of people don't spend their day off protesting you. That really says a lot about who he is. Okay, so let's do a nice 3-card pull. This is the Halloween Oracle. If you haven't already, please help my algorithm. It helps more than you know. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, check out membership. It is so robust. It's ridiculous. We will do a pendulum class in November also to add to the million other things. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, a lot of you was at the No Kings. I love that. Okay. So which one do you feel drawn to? Use your gut instinct. Don't overthink it. 1, 2, or 3. And if it's more than one, that's okay. Here we go. Number 1 is werewolf, exploring wildness. So maybe you've been playing it too safe. You're just sticking to what you know. I just keep seeing the Fool card. Take the leap of faith. Do your research. Don't jump blindly. But also too, exploring wildness also makes me think connecting with nature, doing things, with passion that you love, all of that. Number 2, joy, rejoicing in the present. Yeah, so you know what? Have that love for life. No matter what goes on in the world, you can control how you feel. Do things you enjoy, do things that bring you happiness. And I bet for a lot of you, what brings you joy is bringing joy to others, being of service to others. Tap into that. Number 3, oh, you know what? I don't see this one very often. Skull of Stars, infinite possibilities. It's funny when we have infinite possibilities because I think sometimes that makes us stuck. And I see this a lot with my clients when I work with them one-on-one. Like they're good at many things. They have many avenues they could pursue, too many, and then they get stuck. So narrow it down to what brings you the greatest joy and pleasure. And how do you know what that is? The thing that you do that gets you excited, that you want to get out of bed to do, that you lose track of time when you do it. But you've got to do something. Don't just stay in this land of thinking about possibilities, right? Take the bull by the horn. Get excited, do something. So, all right, my friends, it was a pleasure. I have plenty of videos coming out this week. And if you do want a reading on Halloween, if you want the Celtic Cross, there will be something on the community tab. Please don't just start sending me money randomly. Please don't. Wait until I give you the PayPal link, okay? Because I will do some full Celtic Crosses for folks. And before people ask, Annie and Maggie are doing well. They are both really stable right now. They're in their heated orthopedic beds, living their best life. I'm going to give them dinner. And then after this, I'm going to a tarot show. I do not know what to expect, but I am here for it. Right? So, all right, my friends, have a beautiful week, and I will see you all in a few days. Bye, guys.